Hey guys, this is Corey and welcome to CNA Films and Animation. Today is Tuesday and welcome to this week's episode of TV Series Tuesday. Today's review is of Breaking Bad Season 2. Now, if you haven't seen Season 1 or Season 2 of Breaking Bad, I highly recommend that you stop this video, go watch both of those seasons, and then come back and watch this video. Because this review is going to be very spoiler heavy. And if you haven't seen the show, I don't want to ruin things for you. So please go watch the seasons and then come back. So Season 1 ended with Walter and Jesse in the middle of a junkyard. And they were with Tuco and his thugs. And after Tuco beats the living crap out of one of his thugs for next to nothing, Walter and Jesse were dumbstruck at what they had seen. Season 2 starts where Season 1 ended, and we find out that the guy that Tuco beat the living crap out of is dead due to the brain injuries. Walter and Jesse leave the junkyard, and they try to get out of town, but Tuco gets to them first and holds them hostage at Tuco's uncle's house in the middle of nowhere. When Tuco's uncle sees Walter put poison in Tuco's food, Tuco becomes suspicious of Jesse and Walter's behavior and takes Jesse outside to kill him. However, Walter comes out of nowhere and hits Tuco in the head, and Jesse takes his gun and shoots him in the chest. Meanwhile, Walter's family is looking for Walter. He's been missing for a couple days, and this leaves Hank to try and find Jesse. There's kind of a lead that he gets that makes him suspect that this Jesse Pinkman may be with Walter. So he goes to find Jesse's car, and when he finds it, he finds Tuco. Tuco opens fire at Hank, and Hank kills him. Walter escapes from the place by hitchhiking with a bunch of Mexicans and goes to a supermarket where he takes off his clothes and acts like he doesn't know where he is or where he has been for the past couple days. And after he's picked up and taken to a hospital, Skylar suspects that he's lying to her about having a second cell phone. Meanwhile, Jesse's parents kick Jesse out of his aunt's house, and this forces Jesse to try and find an apartment. He finds an apartment that is managed by a girl named Jane. Jesse and Walter need to make and sell more meth, but they don't want to come across another Tuco, so they decide to distribute their own product. So Jesse hires some of his friends to start selling the meth, and things are going great until one of Jesse's friends, Skinny Pete, gets robbed by a couple of meth heads. So to send a message, Jesse goes to the meth head's house to try and get his money back, but instead he comes across a kid who is skinny as a bone and dirty from head to toe. So Jesse takes care of the kid until his parents get home. When his parents get home, he then tries to get the money back, but instead what happens is the meth heads knock him out, take his gun, and when he wakes up, the man, Splooge, is trying to open up an ATM, and the woman gets frustrated with him because he keeps calling her names, and she crushes his head with an ATM just to get a fix. Once she goes to sleep, Jesse picks up the kid, sets him outside, calls the police, and says, "Have a good rest of your life." The next day, Badger, another one of Jesse's friends, gets busted, and so Walter and Jesse hire a criminal defense lawyer named Saul, who takes on cases for drug dealers and drug users. Walter makes a deal with Sal to get a cut of the share if Sal can get Badger off. So Sal does it, and he does get Badger off. Then Combo, the third friend of Jesse's, gets killed by another gang member because Combo was in their territory. After Combo's death, Jesse feels very terrible about the death and wants out of the business. So he starts a relationship with Jane, his the apartment manager, and together they start doing heroin. Saul sets Walter up with a distributor who's been in the game for over 20 years and has never been caught. So Walter meets with the guy, gives him the drugs, takes the money, and completely misses the birth of his daughter, all because Jesse was high on heroin. Jesse was holding the drugs, and because he was so high on the heroin, he couldn't even function. So it was mostly Jesse's fault, in a sense. Jesse wants his cut of the money, and Walter says that if Jesse can clean himself up and be completely drug-free, then he can have his portion of the money. Until then, he won't get it. However, Jane feels that he deserves his cut of the money, so she blackmails Walter. To celebrate, Jane and Jesse decide to get high, and Walter goes to a bar to have a drink. He there has a conversation with Jane's father, which he doesn't know at the time, and after the drink, he goes to Jesse's house to try and talk with him one last time, but instead finds Jesse and Jane high as a kite, and completely incapacitated. Jane then overdoses on the heroin, and chokes to death on her own vomit while Walter watches her die. The next day, Jesse wakes up and finds Jane dead, and he is completely devastated. Walter has an operation that is to remove some of the cancer from his lungs, and after a couple of weeks of recovery, Skylar leaves him because of his lies. I've got to say that this was one of the most intense dramas I've seen ever. This season ranks up there to me with Dexter Season 4. Every episode completely had me on the edge of my seat, and I thoroughly enjoyed the entire season. There were some twists in the end that some of them I didn't really see coming, and that kept my interest and kept the suspense building. For the most part, I thought that the season finale for Season 2 was pretty good. However, the entire season built up to this thing with like a teddy bear, or actually it was kind of a pink wolf or something like that, in the pool. And they kept building up and up. This thing like maybe Jesse and Walter were dead, or maybe Walter Jr. and Skylar or something. And it turns out that it was two planes that crashed, and some of the stuff landed in Walter's pool and driveway. And, I'm glad nothing happened to some of the main characters, but it just kind of seemed, I don't know, maybe a little cop-out? I don't know. It was very good. I liked it. But it just was kind of, kind of made me go, really? So, overall, I really liked the series. I liked the season. And I'm going to give Season 2 a 9.6 out of 10. So, tell me, guys, what was your favorite moment in Season 2? Comment below and let me know. If you like this video, be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. I'm Corey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.